Hey guys, welcome to your guide for everyone's favorite chunky boy Snorlax. From your favorite Australian YouTuber.
Hi, trainers.
No, not that one. There we go. Snorlax is a defender. Now, what is a defender? A defender is your front line, it's your initiator, it's going to be peeling and crowd controlling for your team. It is such an essential part of the team fight and a really big role to play. Even if sometimes that role is to pass through life, into the next world, and hope your team gets out safely. Diving into Snorlax's stats, we can see it's an incredibly beefy Pokemon. It has very high base defenses and a very high health pool. What that means is you'll be able to soak up damage for your team really well. So play that tank role, get in the way, block those moves, and support your team. Those early game attack numbers are nothing to scoff at either. So take advantage of those, put pressure on in the early game, and abuse the enemy team and dominate the lane. The Snorlax is a tank. It doesn't do much else, it absorbs damage and it controls, and it is solely a tank. So because of that, the build we're going to be running is going to consist of 3 tank items. So one's going to be Body Barrier, of course. Body Barrier, if you don't know, is one of the strongest items in the entire game. It gives a shield to yourself and an ally when you use your Unite move, and it is very, very powerful. The other one we'll be using is Focus Band. Now, Focus Band in the laning phase is incredibly strong and helps you trade out quite a lot. It will heal a lot of your health, and it will really make you sustain and survive. Next up, we'll have Score Shield. Now, Score Shield is an item that allows you to score when the enemies are hitting you. They have to break a shield first before they can stop you scoring. The reason this is so good on somebody like Snorlax is solely because Snorlax pressures the lane so heavily that it has many opportunities to score, and it also has a high health pool, which means the shield granted by this item is quite large. The battle item that I'm going to recommend is going to be Eject Button. Some people recommend X Speed because it allows you to bulldoze with block and push a lot further and faster. But I find that Eject being used with Heavy Slam, with the Unite move, with Tackle, even with block is just far more useful and far greater value than something like X Speed. So I highly recommend Eject Button. Snorlax's passive is called Gluttony. Now, Gluttony increases the effects gained from eating berries, but what it doesn't tell you is it actually offers you increased movement speed walking towards those berries. Use that to steal the enemy berries or to get to yours quickly. Snorlax's basic attack becomes a boosted attack on every third hit. Now, on every third hit, you're going to be slowing enemy Pokemon and doing an increased amount of damage. This is really useful to you in the early game. You're going to be wanting to use this to slow the enemy Pokemon in lane and take advantage of the pressure that it causes. The move you're going to want to take at level 1 is going to be Tackle. Now, Tackle has the user charge forward belly first, and this feisty belly bump deals a tremendous amount of early game damage while shoving the opponent, knocking them up, and resetting your boosted attack, allowing you to slow them afterwards. Now, this move is the sole reason that Snorlax is such a threat in the bottom lane. There aren't many Pokemon in this game that can contest this when going for the bottom Ordinos, trying to get that last hit. The burst is unbelievable, the speed is great, and the knock-up that it presents is unrivaled. This move is probably one of the greatest early moves in the entire game, and this is why Snorlax is such a dominating threat. Make sure to use Tackle to secure the Ordinos and to pressure the enemies if they get out of position. Make sure to use it on the bees to burst them down. This move allows so much pressure, and it's really what you're going to be playing around in the early game. Though be careful because this move can be interrupted, so don't use it into Mimes when you still have Fake Out up or their Confusion up. Any Pokemon with strong crowd control like Jigglypuff, just make sure you use it correctly and make sure you use it safely. At level 3, you'll gain access to Rest. Now, Rest is an incredible move. Rest has you fall asleep on the ground, restoring your HP, and it also grants the Unstoppable status. Now, what this means is it can't be interrupted, and you can use it to avoid crowd control. So say a Wigglytuff is using Sing, or a Pikachu using Electro Web, then just hit Rest and you can avoid the control of those moves. Rest also counts as a wall. What this means is that enemy Pokemon can't walk through you while you're resting, and a lot of moves that are blocked by walls will also be blocked by you. This is really useful for protecting your team in the early game. Make sure to use Rest to trade out damage with the enemy lane and absorb it for your team. It takes a large investment for a team to take down a rested Snorlax, so if they're focusing on you, then they're not damaging your team, and that's really what your job is, to soak up damage and protect your team. At level 6, you're going to get your first big power spike in the form of Heavy Slam. These don't take well in my games. Heavy Slam is an incredible move, allowing you to dive up into the heavens and bring down the hell on your enemies as you knock them up, dealing damage. Heavy Slam is one of the greatest initiation tools in the game, and that's just how you'll be using it. You're going to use Heavy Slam to jump onto your enemies and knock them up, to set up kills for your team, and you're also going to be using it to peel for your team, which means you're going to want to jump on enemies to stop them from getting towards your teammates. The biggest tip I can give you with Heavy Slam is to take advantage of your Eject Button. Now, Eject Button can be used during Heavy Slam at any point, so you'll want to use it to extend the range of your Heavy Slam and to correct the angle of your Heavy Slam if your aim happens to be a little bit off. This can really catch people off guard, and this is really useful to do in the middle of a team fight, and it's very hard to react to. At level 8, you'll be getting Block. Now, Block is balance. Don't have block. Never know block. Block is a wall that Snorlax creates by spreading its arms wide, and what this wall does is it prevents opposing Pokemon from passing through it. So this acts as a wall, so it will block ultimates like Talonflame's Unite move, and it pushes enemies back when it comes in contact with them over and over and over and over again. Now this move is absurd, it is unbelievably strong, and it is what makes Snorlax so incredibly powerful. This move can control an entire team, an entire fight, and it does so many things. You can use block to push enemies backwards towards your team. You can use it to push them away from your team. You can use it to push enemies into a wall and keep them trapped. You can use block to zone areas so enemies can't get through. And you can form this little shimmy in block that a lot of people don't know about, where you can place the enemy in between yourself and the block shield, and it actually keeps them trapped and they can't move at all. It's a little hard to pull off, but it's unbelievably powerful. Another thing a lot of people don't seem to realize about block is that it gives you a little shield. Now you can take advantage of this shield to stack it with score shield and get a bigger shield for scoring to help you pressure some scores a little more than often. Block is all around an unbelievable move, and it is why you're picking Snorlax at the end of the day. Use your block right, take advantage of it, and just block. Just use block. Snorlax's Unite move is called Power Nap. Now, Power Nap lets you go to sleep onto the ground just like Rest does, but this has a huge knockup and the healing is tremendous. You heal an unbelievable amount. This is usually used to give an ally a body barrier or just to get a big knockup in the middle of a team fight. It also does damage over time around you in pulses. Very small amounts, but it does add up, and you can hit the Unite move again to roll over and do an extra burst of damage. So Snorlax's Unite move is pretty impactful in a team fight. It's not the best move in the kit, but it's definitely something that you want to play around and you want to plan for. So how should you play Snorlax throughout the match? Well, Snorlax is going to be your tank in the bottom lane primarily. There's no point of wasting Snorlax in the top lane. The A-Palms give less XP than the Ordinos, so using Snorlax on the beefier Ordinos with its high burst damage just makes a lot more sense, and it can benefit your team a lot more. There's also a lot more XP in the bottom lane, so Snorlax can have an easier time getting to that heavy slam power spike. When you're heading up the lane with your team, you're going to want to hit both the A-Palms with one tackle. The way you do this is by getting as close to them as possible and right in between them. That will guarantee you getting the double knockup and the most damage possible. Then you're going to want to head to the neutral Ordino, and when you're there, you're going to want to be waiting in the bush so the enemy can't see you, or be pressuring them if you get there early. Then what you want to do is you want to come out with your tackle and secure the farm with that burst damage for your team. After that, there'll be a damage trade, and depending on how that goes, you'll either be pressuring their Ordinos or falling back onto your Ordinos. Now, this is where rest comes into play. If you did secure that middle Ordino, then you will have rest before the enemy Snorlax or whoever they have in their lane. You have the advantage there of taking damage trades and recovering and having an advantage for your team. Don't forget to take advantage of that score shield and score some goals on your enemies when you can, because you do have a high health pool and you are very, very safe. Just make sure you're back in time for the 850Bs, because when the 850B spawn, it's a big roll on you to be getting that tackle off and be securing them when they're all low. You don't want to open up with the tackle because that will burst them so the enemy team gets them low. You want to be the one securing the kills. You want to be the one tackling when they're already low in health, so you and your team can get the XP and the kills for those Bs. Once you get to level 6 and you get heavy slam, you're going to be looking for openings. So you're going to be calling out to your team that I have slam up in 3, 2. You're just going to let them know. You're going to be looking around. You're going to be trying to find people out of position, or you're going to catch them by using the eject button with the slam. Now you can also do this with tackle. You can tackle an eject button, but it's just not as devastating as heavy slam is with the eject button. Don't feel as though you have to overcommit, so sometimes you can heavy slam in and then you can walk right out because you've already gotten the crowd control off, and there's no reason to risk your health if you're at a low pool of health at the moment. Then once you hit 8 and you get that block, the game becomes yours. You control every single team fight. So your team can look for fights, they can look to push for objectives and have that safety of you with block to even make up for their bad positioning or to make up for the enemy team stepping a little bit out of line. Remember, you're the tank, you're the initiator, and you're the peeler. There is a lot of responsibility on you throughout the game. You need to be watching your team as much as the enemy team. You'll be saving your Unite move for objectives, such as Dreadnought, Rotom, and Zapdos. You get it at level 10, so you won't have it throughout the entire game. Sometimes it takes quite a while to get your ultimate online, but once you do get that Unite move, you're going to be using it pretty effectively. You're going to want to pop it in the middle of a team fight to knock up the entire team, or when you're low on health to recover health, or if you see an ally maybe is about to faint, then you pop your body barrier and you save them. It's a very important thing as a tank to be watching your allies' health to save them with those body barriers. When you're playing around an objective such as Zapdos, there's a couple things you can do. One I've found is you can try to secure it with your heavy slam, but that's always risky. Heavy slam's interruptible, so you don't want to jump in there and just hope that you get it. There's a couple plays I like to make instead. One is to stand in the choke of the Zapdos point to zone enemies, make sure they can't get through. And the other is to sit just outside the circle of Zapdos where everybody's fighting. Wait for Zapdos to be decently low, and then jump on the enemy team and block them away so your team can get the secure for free. Remember, it's not your job to secure the objectives. You are the tank. It is your job to help your team and assist them do these things. I hope this guide to Snorlax has been helpful to you. I hope it makes you excel in your ranked games. I think Snorlax is an incredible pick. Let me know your experience with Snorlax. How has Snorlax felt for you? Have you enjoyed playing with or against Snorlaxes? Let me know in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and have a wonderful day.